Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I got a good video for you guys today. I call this my confessional. I've sat here for this camera dozens of times and told things to you guys that I have never told another living soul. This has to do with my recovery, and it has to do with intimacy and getting a girlfriend, or whatever your case is, boyfriend or girlfriend or both or whatever, and being intimate in recovery. And I've got an interesting story for you guys, and I've never really talked about this to anybody, and I'm still learning in my recovery. I'm coming up on 18 years. This Wednesday will be 18 years. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd, 2006. Okay, so I'll start at the very beginning here. I've had two relationships. For the first 7 years that I was clean and sober, I just worked on myself. I'm going to do a video where I talk about how I lost 90 pounds, and I actually started working out and exercising. And that took up the time, and it gave me another focus to stay clean and sober, but it also got me in good shape, and it made me appreciate my body. But that's not what I'm talking about here. So for the first 7 years, I pretty much, I worked on myself. I worked on getting back together with my family, establishing trust, establishing an income. I found out that I was pretty good at art, at painting. And I actually learned this in one of the detoxes. One of the rehabs I went to had a brand new art therapy program, and a brand new art room. And I owe them, St. Francis Hospital in Hartford, I owe them a huge debt, debt for helping me discover a whole new line of work. But okay, getting back to relationships, I knew that I had to be I knew that I couldn't go back and date any of the women. I've done a video talking about how to get rid of all the old friendships and relationships. I shut the door on all the old relationships and friendships. And sometimes it got hard, being alone, getting a little horny sometimes, it was hard not going back to old girlfriends. But I think this is one of the reasons I've succeeded in recovery, is because I didn't. And in the 7th year on Facebook, I started flirting with a girl I knew back in high school. She was a friend of one of the girls I was dating. That's how it always goes. You date a friend of the girl you used to date. We'll call her Paula. And she was recently divorced. She had been married for 20 years. And she owned her own house. She owned her own business. She drank. I found out she drank more than I knew. But that's not really what this video is about. And we started dating. Okay, so here's the big thing. I told you guys I had never, I started getting intimate when I was 14 years old, started dating. That's when I lost my cherry, when I was 14 years old. And I'll do a video on that. That's not a good story. And I had never been intimate without drinking or using. So I was terrified. And I didn't know if everything would work or not. I mean, everything did work, but I was afraid of anxiety, performance anxiety. So I went to my doctor. When I went to my doctor for a physical, I asked him about the little blue pill, or Viagra. And this is actually the sample that I got from him. There's actually still 2 pills left in here. I think this expired years ago. They're no longer good. And I got a prescription for them, just in case. Now, let me say this. These things are amazing. They work amazing. I function like a freaking porn star, man. It's amazing. I don't know, in my case, what they do. They give you length and girth and staying power. And yeah, I got nothing but good things to say about the little blue pill, but that's not what this video is about. Now, here's the thing. When me and Paula first started dating, I kind of casually mentioned that I had some anxiety, so I kind of felt her out. I didn't know if I should admit. I had already gone to the doctor and I'd already gotten these pills, but we hadn't been intimate yet. And I didn't want to, I wanted to be honest with her. And she had a big problem with it. She had insecurities. She said that, no man that's going to be with her should need a little blue pill. She should be enough to, get a rise out of any man. That's seriously what she got upset right off the bat. So I realized I couldn't tell her. Okay, so I got my prescription. I always carried one or two of the little pills with me just in case. And the first time we were intimate, I kind of felt it coming, and about 15 minutes before I went to the bathroom, I took one and it kicked in, and boom, boom. And I started using these. Now this, I'll be honest too, this woman had an incredible sex drive. I mean, like 2-3 times a day. I mean, we were intimate 7 to 10 times a week, and I had been celibate for 7 years, the first 7 years. So I was okay with this. After a while, it got to be a little too much. And I never told her about taking these pills, and I kept taking them. I had such anxiety. I didn't have anxiety about performance anymore, but I had anxiety that I was going to get caught. I didn't like being dishonest about this, because I always snuck. I'd stay at her house for the weekend when she didn't have her kid. Like every other weekend, her ex would have their daughter, so she'd have the house to herself, and I would stay over for the whole weekend, and I'd bring these little pills in my wallet. And I would have to time it right. I take them a half hour, 15 minutes, whatever, ahead of when I foresaw some intimacy coming down the pike. And it worked every time, And here's the thing. For that whole year that I eventually broke up with her. And the main reason I broke up with her was because, I hate to say this, man, but the main reason I broke up with her, because the intimacy got to be too much. It was almost to a level of like an addiction with her. And, it was just, it took up so much time and energy. We're talking 2 or 3 times a day. And I know that sounds crazy. I hear myself saying it now, and I'm like, well, was that crazy? But it got to be too much. And hiding this secret for a whole year, every day we'd be intimate, and I had these pills, and I kept using them. And it just got to be too much for me, and I broke up with her. Within a month, as soon as Audrey, my ex-girlfriend, found out that I had broken up with Paula, she was my childhood sweetheart. And she got a hold of me, and we started dating. We went away to the beach, to Misquamicut together. We were totally celibate. She slept on her side of the bed. I slept on mine. But with her, I was honest with her from the beginning. And here's the thing. I didn't need the pills. I knew I didn't need the pills anymore. I didn't need them at all in the first place, but I just got in the habit of taking them with Paula. And because of the prolific sexual encounters we had all the time. I mean, me and Audrey got busy too, but nowhere to the crazy extent of 10, 15 times a week with Paul. So I stopped taking these. I no longer needed them. And here's the interesting thing. Audrey had a really good insurance policy where she worked. She hired counselors. She was the head of human resources at one of the biggest rehabs here in Connecticut, Mountainside in Canaan. And she had great insurance. And she told me she actually wanted to, I told her I had tried the Viagra before. I didn't, get specific about my prior girlfriend. And I told her about the amazing results, boom and everything. And she was into it. But we never used it. Unfortunately, after dating and living together for several years, Audrey passed away on August 5th, 2021 from COVID. And that's a whole nother story. So yeah, I had a relationship for a year, and I took these pills with every encounter, and my girlfriend never knew, and I felt terrible about it. Today, I can honestly say, I'm honest about everything. I don't think there's nothing in my life that I'm ashamed of, that I need to hide, and it's a great feeling. Recovery is possible. Have a good Sunday.